followed by 2 games against South Africa in Stormont before we move into a series of 3 ODIs and 5 T20s starting on the 6th of August against Zimbabwe. There may be another one, another nation involved in that. We haven't got any details of that just yet before the World Cup. Followed by 2 games. So we're going to miss from McCollum. Big heave before we move into a series. Man on ball.
Well, really, Johnny should be looking to force it offside there. Trying to maybe give himself a bit of room. Force the ball away as effectively as he did, of course, against Hume. Different proposition with Craig Young. You're looking at someone who's bowling a lot quicker, but again, if you can just use the pace of the ball in that situation and just stick to your strong shots, all the better.
And that ends the 5th. And it's 32 without loss. Andrew Blair White's going to step in. And also Andrew Leonard.
Yes, thank you very much, John and Alan. 5 overs gone in this second game of the day. With the Northern Knights, a solid start, 32 without loss. And with a change in the commentary box also comes a change in the bowling. We're going to see Jared Wilson come into the attack for the first time today, and joined again by Andrew Leonard. And the Northern Knights have made a promising start here.
Yeah, absolutely. I was chatting to Simon Johnston, the Knights head coach, before the start of the game, and so many options at his disposal. I didn't know which way to go with the batting order, but they decided to go left, right hand at the top. No, Ross Adair at the top, that's who I wanted to see. Get the big man, the former rugby player, get him in at the top of the order, get him out there and pongoing it from ball 1. But what Jonty the younger said, the head coach of the Knights, is that they want to hold him back, hold his power hitting back till later in the innings. He hits a very, very big ball. A few players in today's match hitting a big ball, no doubt about that. Looking forward to seeing William McClintock later as well. With a nice platform for the Knights to work with. You can see Wilson's medium pace. Keeper up to the stumps. Try and keep McCollum back in his box. Comes off the outside edge, and third man is in the circle. So the runs are going to continue to flow. Not where McCollum necessarily intended. And a boundary to get Wilson's spell underway.
Yeah, thick edge from James McCollum. Seen plenty of intent from him though so far today. He has been making his game probably more white ball friendly over the last 12 to 18 months. Good to see it on show here. 26 not out already.
Looks for the ramp now and decides not to ramp it over his left shoulder, but to scoop it exactly where first slip would be in a normal game. That's modern T20 cricket to a T. Doesn't get the line he wants to ramp it to the leg side, so he opens it up and sends it to the off. Brilliant batting. Just a little feather, I suspect.
Indeed, hard to know. Did he get a little feather on it? Certainly, he's done the keeper one way or the other.
Given his buys, in fact, to my naked eye, I thought that there was just a touch in it. It looked like it deflected, but Paul Reynolds will obviously know better than I will. Paul Reynolds giving it his buys, so yeah, deceiving the keeper. Another variant of the scoop shot. 4 more to the total. This time it goes down against the gloves of Stephen Dohney rather than to the bat of James McCollum.
Yeah, so I think a decent enough ploy here though from the Northern Knights, going right left hand at the top. They've obviously got an awful lot of power still to come, as you said. Ross Adair, Mark Adair, Harry Tector, you'd assume, will come in and at that 3 or 4 alongside maybe Jeremy Lawler. Both have had decent seasons so far.
This one looped into the air towards Andy McBride. He's never going to drop that. Shorter delivery works, and Georgeson's experiment up at the top of the order coming up. It's had such an impact on Irish cricket since he's come across from Wellington. so far this summer. It hasn't worked, and he's caught. He goes for just 11 runs.
Yeah, just didn't get anywhere near the middle of it from Wilson there. Back of a length ball. Probably the shot was on, but spooned up in the air. That's absolutely routine for Andy McBride. A good, useful opening partnership though. 41 up within the power play. But Georgeson does depart. He'll be disappointed with that. He's been in very good form in the T20 format for his club. Unfortunately, unable to bring that into the Northern Knights today.
Yeah, we'll just check that scorecard for you, because the scoreboard here at the ground, which is powered by the official match scorers, has 11 is the total for Georgeson. Our graphics of 10. We'll try and get that cross-checked. Should be powered by the same team, but we'll work out whether he's 10 or 11. The score on the main account, which is the team account, is the same. So 41 for 1 the score. Everyone agrees on that. Just whether Lawler or whether Georgeson at 10 or 11, we'll have to wait and find out. Lawler going to be in at number 3. Probably see Harry Tector at 4. I suspect Mark Adair at 5. To his new role, promoted role with the bat. But it's going to be McCollum on strike, and this continued lack of a third man continues to be punished. First one off an outside edge, the second one off 4 byes, the keeper didn't quite get to, and the third one again off an outside edge, the third boundary, the over. It's all happening here in the power play.
And it's really good to see from James McCollum that he's going to continue to play his shots. Sometimes after you lose your opening partner, you can become a little bit more circumspect. He's gone after that with hard hands, gets it away for 4.
He's just kept a little low. The first one that we've seen keep a little low. Stephen Doheney's just struggled a bit up to the stumps to Wilson, to be honest. 4 byes and then another bye to add to the total there. Paul Reynolds signaling just off your screen. But Wilson has a wicket, the first breakthrough of the day. At the end of the power play, it's 46 for 1.
Yeah, overall, the Northern Knights will be happy enough with that start. Sure, certainly from the first game we saw this morning, you'd think, on a read through that a power score might be in and amongst that 160 to 170 position. I thought the Munster Reds were light with their 148. But they're in a good platform position to build upon that. It would be interesting to see how Andy McBride deals with both himself bowling and also the spin of potentially Ross Allen, Graham Kennedy. Even Nathan Maguire could bowl. He's got plenty of options.
Always spin to win, whatever the format, even in the T20. It's more effective than anything in the T20, perhaps. Pitches always help the spinners here as well. Changing the field, deciding that better to have Hume in the deep than McClintock, so they're just switching from long on to backward point. 2 T20 debuts today at this level of the game, the Inter-Pro T20 listed level. Jared Wilson has just bowled his first over, taking his first wicket, and Luke Georgeson, we've seen throughout the 50 over stuff, and of course he's played a bit for Wellington down in New Zealand in the first class cricket as well. I just want to confirm from earlier, a few questions came in to me during the break. Did Leinster get the bonus point? They did indeed, so 5 points at the top of the table for them. Just into the offside will be a single. The way the bonus point system works is very simply, it's if you beat them by about 20%. So they needed to chase that total down in 16 overs, which they did, and they move top of the table with 5 points, the perfect start for the Leinster Lightning.
Yeah, they were very impressive earlier today in the first game. They bowled and fielded pretty well, and I think they'd be very happy with their batting performance as well. George Starkrow, Simi Singh, Lorcan Tucker all in the runs.
Yeah, and for me, the most intriguing thing about this weekend and next weekend, it's really the start of the journey towards the T20 World Cup. I spoke about there probably being 48 players here, plus Peter Chase, Paul Sterling and Gareth Delaney, Curtis Camphor. So you'd have to think the 15 that will go out and represent Ireland at that T20 World Cup will come from those 52. And every single one of them is going to be wanting to put their hand up. You get into a good run of form, you could get yourself in the mix. Games against South Africa, Zimbabwe this summer. Great work by William McClintock at a sort of short third man. Give me some bolters, Andrew. Who are you fancying to maybe bolt into that squad and get themselves into consideration over the next couple of months?
Well, I'm going to be very interested to see the return to fast bowling from Dave Delaney later on today. It's been such a shame just what's been happening with the amount of injuries he's picked up, but he bowls very fast. We saw that out in the World Cup qualifiers for this competition, that he bowled with extreme pace, and it is something. You look at the majority of the really good T20 international sides, they have a mixture of everything. They've got leg spinners, they've left arm spinners, and they've fast bowlers. Potentially Ireland just ever so slightly lack sometimes with fast bowlers. I know Josh Little, Craig Young have bowled very well and very quick recently, but he's certainly one that could well be a lurker, and if he was to just put a good season together for the Knights in this 20 over format, it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever to see him potentially springboard back into the scene.
Yeah, Delaney may not operate at full pace today. We'll wait and see. Still coming back. He's played a couple of club games just to ease himself into the season. Of course, the T20 format will only have to bowl 24 deliveries maximum. That one comes off the inside edge. Nearly cannons in to the stumps. Anyone else? Maybe some of the spinners. Ben White, a few people have been talking about.
Well, there's just such a craving for leg spin bowling at international cricket and in 20 over cricket that you have to have a look at the likes of Ben White. JJ Garth only given the 1 over earlier today, which is a shame to see. Mitchell Thompson left out of the Munster Reds team. I think you've got to try and back these leg spin bowlers. Not really sure. Sorry, as McCollum pumps that one down to long on for a single. Not really sure what's the use in having these young leggies in squads if they're just going to carry drinks or just bowling over. You know, you feel you need to get them in the game. You're a big advocate for backing young leg spin bowlers. Get them in and see what they can do.
Yeah, just the 1 over for Garth was a disappointment. I would agree with that. Not really shape from the hand for Wilson, just kind of a slingy action coming away with the angle. Beats the attempted swap from Lawler. But Lawler's been really impressive in the 50 over format. Again, probably a little bit like Murray Cummins. It doesn't look like it would be his natural game to be power hitting, to be scoring up at a strike rate of 150, 160 in the T20 version, but he's going to have his chance as well. Just looks like it wouldn't be his natural game by any stretch or shape.
Yeah, it does look like that, but he's certainly propelling himself into that one-day international picture with how well he played in the IP50, and he's had a brilliant season so far for Carrickfergus. He made the move up to the NCU and played his cricket at Phoenix last year, and he's had a very productive season for Carrickfergus. So certainly getting into Irish eyes is Jeremy Lawler.
Good Yorker this time from Wilson, gets it right into the block hole, and Lawler's struggles continue. So funny, the shorter format of the game, only been in there 8 deliveries, but already the pressure piled on him. Cannot afford to be in a strike rate anything less than 100 really. To back your experience, to be able to catch up even if you get behind like he has here, but just putting a bit of pressure onto the Knights. And sit down to Andy McBride will just be a single. Good result for the Warriors that they'll keep Lawler on strike, starving McCollum of the strike. 8 overs gone, 51 for 1.
Yeah, another good over there from Jared Wilson. 2 tight overs in a row there from the Northwest Warriors, and as you say, Andrew, just 9 deliveries faced from Jeremy Lawler, but already a lot of that good start that they made in the power play evaporating away here. Just over a run of ball now. The Knights 51 for 1 after 8, and going to have to try and kick on at some stage. McCollum not getting much of the strike, 33 off 25. He's only faced a couple of deliveries in the last couple of overs, so you'd think the best thing Lawler could do, potentially get off strike here first ball.
Andy McBride, such an impressive operator, whether in the blue of the Northwest or the green of Ireland. Proves so hard to get away, knows his game so well.
Yeah, and he gets through his overs extremely quickly, which is always, as a batter, It's a terrible feeling in 20 over cricket when you feel that overs are just slipping away from underneath you.
You see the reverse sweep come out. It's a really good shot from James McCollum. Gets it behind square on the offside. That's the key. Just 4 fielders in the offside. That's why he's going for that option. A lot of protection in the deep and the leg side. Opens up this part of the field really well.
This is a serious shot from James McCollum. Well timed. You have to think, with somebody like McCollum, he's still around. He wants to put his hand up for both 50 over and 20 over competitions.
Yeah, I think certainly early in his career, McCollum would have struggled to score at a rapid rate, but we've seen an evolution in his game as he's grown both in strength and in stature as a cricketer. Very quick on the short ball, loves a pull and a cut. Yeah, something perhaps of the forgotten man this summer after a real struggle. As Kennedy gets a big clap from his adoring Longford CC fan section. That's the short straw of all the fielding positions to draw today, Andrew.
Yeah, Fionn Hand had to operate out there in the first game.
Massive appeal and given. Lawler doesn't like it, but you can see why it's been given out. Looks for the reverse sweep. Trapped right in front. I think it was flat enough. I think it was straight enough. Was height an issue here? Mark Hawthorne took his time, but he's given it out.
Yeah, hard to know just with Stephen Don. He's leg in the way there on that replay. Potentially did it hit him just outside the line. It would have been a close one, probably an umpire's call.
Well, the shade from the sideline is too high. I just wonder, has he been dismissed as much for the stroke there as anything? Trying to follow up Lawler what his partner McCollum had done so brilliantly just a few moments prior, but that was a slightly painful stay at the wicket for Lawler. Lost a bit of the momentum that the Knights had, and he has to go. Goals for 4 off 11 deliveries. It's not what you want in a T20. Harry Tector going to come in at number 4. 9 overs gone. 57 for 2.
Yeah, I think this is a good option from Andy McBride as well. With a new batter at the crease, he's going to bring on his left arm spinner Graham Kennedy. Overall has been very impressive. He's moved from left arm seam to left arm spin so far this year and has done pretty well with the ball, and also has been really impressive with the bat. Another man that's game has evolved, I think, if you're saying that with James McCollum, which is completely correct. Graham Kennedy would have been known probably a year or two ago as having a very good technique, but potentially not the shots. He now has all the shots in the book as well, but he needs to do a job here with the ball in hand. I'd say overall, though, the Warriors pretty happy with where they are at the moment.
Yeah, going to be delighted with where they're at. They look to be so well drilled this year under new head coach Gary Wilson. Helps when you got your assistant coach on the pitch as well. William Porterfield, of course, fulfilling the dual role, making a magnificent century on Tuesday. And biggest thing for me from Tuesday was not just the 100 that he made, but the way he made it. Completely chanceless, flawless knock. He really looked back to his best.
Yeah, he was superb on Tuesday. It was brilliant to watch. It was an honour to be there to witness it. And just even when he was talking to you after the game, the hunger he still has, the want to get back into the side, it's just not dying.
Immediate call of no from Harry Tector. McCollum wanted to get through for one, but straight to backward point. And McClintock does the fielding. Gets that one through the gap between point and backward point. It was flatter through the air from Kennedy. And a really good shot. Good use of the depth of the crease from Harry Tector. He gets his account underway with a boundary.
Yeah, seriously good batting this from Tector. He loves this late cut. He's played that almost off stump. Almost taking the ball out of Doheney's gloves there and placed it in between those two fielders backward at point. Very good batting from Tector.
Good bowling. Tector just feigning to come down the track just before the ball is delivered. Kennedy's held his nerve really well, still gone with the full flighted, full delivery. Tector can only keep it out. Looks such a natural left arm spinner, Kennedy. He's only taken it up this year. Good work in the field, that's Shane Getgate. Flat and hard, skidding through to Dohney. Yeah, critical part of the innings now, the second half of this first innings. Knights really have to start pressing the accelerator. Lots of power hitting to come.
Yeah, McCollum pressing that into the leg side. Going for intent to try and get two, but never going to be two there. That ends the 10th over, 64 for two to Northern Knights.
Just bid farewell for the moment for a brief bit for Andrew Blair White. He'll be replaced by John Kenny. John's sun is out. Cricket's on. There's a few people down the wall. A few of them getting a bit rowdy. I think the beers are flowing.
Good.
Life is good.
Good. This time last year we didn't think we'd have anything. So yeah, enjoying this immensely. 64 for 2 at the end of 10. It's been tough going for them.
I think as much as it's been tough going for the Knights, Warriors have been outstanding.
Yeah.
They look so well drilled. I think no doubt benefiting from the few additional days here together as a group. I heard the Northwest Cricket Union General Manager Peter McCartney coming out and saying we had to do everything we could to keep the boys together. We didn't want them just spending time in a bus up and down the various motorways, and instead they've really profited from the additional time together. I don't think you can help but profit from additional time with the likes of William Porterfield and Gary Wilson, such experienced international cricketers.
Here's the man they call Scrah. Got a wicket in his last over, starting his fourth and final over. Irish international Andy McBride, the man from Dunnamana, wears his heart on his sleeve for that club, facing his fellow Irish international James McCollum. And he's causing him trouble out there. McCollum on 40, Tector on 5. Plenty of batting to come, as you said. It's a strong batting lineup for the Knights, so now's the time perhaps just to have a look at getting some well-needed runs here. That's a nice shot just down the track. They won't get two. That's good fielding down there. Restricts it to 1.
A great sense of Andy McBride's value as a cricketer here, not just as a spin bowler, a leader. The way he goes about his business, he's so energetic. Superb off his own bowling.
Yeah, blink it, you miss it. His overs are very, very quick.
And the action he gets on the ball, he's a great off-spinner to watch for any young aspiring off-break bowler. Look at his run-up, look at the energy he gets on every single delivery.
Yeah, he really fires it in. Any club cricketer, he's probably bowling at a medium pace, but yeah, he really does fire them in and does get some rotation on the ball too. That's intelligent batting. Call through for the quick single and a shy of the stumps. It misses, and that's good backup fielding as well to prevent the second run.
I think a direct hit may well have been out, John. It was straight
so.
to William Porterfield at mid-wicket. As always, he makes good ground straight to the delivery, picks up cleanly. And I just wonder, would a direct hit, it would have needed a direct hit, would have been no good if McBride could have gathered that and collected it back to the stumps. A direct hit would have been very close indeed.
Well, just past the midway point of their innings, they need to just start moving things on now. Tector's on 6. This is rather like the Lightning did, well, tried to do in their innings. That's the end of the over. It's 11 down. It's 68 for 2. The Lightning were able just to keep the scoreboard ticking over all the time, and they're closer to that target of 149 of the previous game against the Reds. That's what, even in this innings, the Knights, who lost the toss and put into bat, need to do. That's the end of McBride's 4 overs. Good spell too. 1 for 20 from the captain of the Northwest Warriors, the 27-year-old from Dunnamana. Made his one-day international debut against Scotland back in 2014. It's Graham Kennedy to continue then from the commentary box end to Tector. Cries of catch it. It's going to fall short of Graham Hume.
John, you can just see the pressure building. Every single time we have an over that goes by without a boundary, all of a sudden the pressure's piled on to this Northern Knights side. They know they're behind the 8 ball at the moment. Run rate just over run a ball at the moment.
That'll help. Big maximum. And that's gone many a mile. Big hit from McCollum as he edges towards his half century. That was a huge hit.
Yeah, just went above the eye line. Watch this, just a little too loopy from Kennedy. What that meant was it allowed McCollum to pick up that it was a flighted delivery. He got down the track, quick feet to the ball, right to the pitch of it. He's been in long enough to be able to get the timing he wanted, and he's in fact powered it not only down the ground for 6, John. I think that one's gone down Willfield Road, down towards the Balbernie household.
Yep.
For the first time, we had a lot of this in the Mardyke. We've had the lost ball call, and Kevin Gallagher's gone out with the box of replacements.
Yeah, a lot of bushes around the Mardyke, isn't there? But yeah, that was hit many a mile. Longest hit of the day so far. McCollum on a 48 off 36 deliveries. He's got to be the main man now at the moment. He's in. Ooh, and as soon as I say that, he's bowled. Well, having whacked the 6, just come down the track, McCollum, and he perishes on 48. And it's the Knights who lose their 3rd wicket, the score on 75.
This is phenomenal bowling. Really brave from Kennedy. He's just been pongoed out of the ground for 6. A new ball has been called for, and he's decided to go slower and flighted it. He's tempted McCollum to come down the track again. No real turn and offer, it's just skidded through. And what that has meant is that when McCollum hasn't got to the pitch of it, it's skidded on, kept maybe a little bit low, and that's the end of the Irish opener. McCollum goes for 48 from 37 deliveries, 7 4s and 1 6. The Knights in trouble. They're going to need a big effort from their middle order.
Yeah, they got relatively 2 new batsmen at the crease. Tector's on there, the captain of the Knights on 8. And Mark Adair, fellow Irish international, makes his way to the middle. Bats down the order for Ireland, but in the middle order for the Northern Knights. He's back after he underwent ankle reconstruction surgery at the start of 2020. International debut for Ireland back in May of 2019. It's good to see him back. He looks a lot fitter these days as well. Needs to immediately contribute to his side and stifle the appeal.
John, I bowl spin. I would not have been chasing the ball there. I'd have been going up with the biggest appeal you could imagine. It is probably skiddy on and going on to miss leg stump. But my God, trapped him straight in front. No appeal from the bowler.
Ooh, much flatter delivery and he's gone. Well, that's intelligent bowling, as you say. Kennedy kept that really flat, straight through to the wicketkeeper. No hesitation in whipping off the bails. And Adair last 2 deliveries. He's out for a duck.
This is a young left-arm spinner to watch. Look at Graham Kennedy. He sees Adair coming. He darts it through. Again, no turn. Adair's got himself in a bit of a mess as he's come down the track. He's tried to end up whipping across the delivery through to the keeper, Doheny, and that's a really good stumping. It's kept a little low again. He's had to keep his gloves low. Whipped off the bails. Adair has gone for a second ball duck. The Northern Knights are in all sorts of trouble, and the Northwest Warriors are all over them right now.
Yep, they were 57 for 1. They're 75 for 4 now. And Neil Rock coming in at the end, so nearly the end of the 12th over to join Harry Tector, and his team are in a bit of a pickle here.
I have to say one thing for the Northwest Warriors as well. Whoever's made the call and spoken to Graham Kennedy and said, Graham, we don't want you to bowl left arm slow medium anymore. We want you to bowl left arm spin. We think you've got something there. He's been bowling left arm spin for less than 6 months, John. Looks a really natural, fluid, orthodox spinner. He's varied his pace well.
Just about to say that you can see those previous 2 deliveries there. That's a wide, unfortunately for him, but that was one was speared in. The previous one, slower ball, deceived it into the flight. Just it's intelligent bowling. All right, he's got 2 wickets so far. Last ball of the 12th over. Much slower delivery as well. Just fooled Rock. And that's a great spell. Look at that. 1-6, couple of wickets wide, and a dot ball to finish. End of 12. 76 for 4.
Yeah, magnificent over. Don't mind about being hit for a 6 occasionally as a spinner. It's how you bounce back from that. He's got 2 for 15, 2 massive wickets, and he's got a new fan club. He happens to be just fielding in front of the Mullingar Massive, as I'm going to call them, for the rest of this match. We've made the journey up from the Midlands to see the first crowd-attended Inter-Provincial cricket of the season. And they've really enjoyed the fact that their man has picked up a couple.
That's a really good idea from Cricket Ireland, I must say. It's this festival of cricket. 6 games over 2 days, 100 supporters allowed in for every game. And all 100 tickets have been snapped up. 76 for 4. And after a relatively good start, James McCollum gone for 48. Georgeson the first out for 11. The score was on 41. Second wicket went down on the score on 57. And then 2 quick wickets from Kennedy in the 1 over. The score on 75 as the Northern Knights, who lost the toss and were asked to bat. So there's a lot resting on the shoulders now of the Northern Knights captain, 21-year-old Harry Tector. And he shows he's the man for the big occasion. We saw that in Southampton last year with that marvellous victory for Ireland against the world champions. Craig Young back on now. And that's out. Big nick. We could hear it from here. Well, they built up Harry Tector and he let himself down, fortunately. That was well bowled by Young, and that's the 5th wicket. And, well, that's just 1 run for the last 3 wickets. And, well, you don't need me to tell you they're in trouble.
Beautifully bowled by Craig Young, just back of a length and good enough to find the shoulder of Harry Tector's bat. I think probably just trying to run it down to third man for a single. But this is outstanding from the Northwest Warriors. We talked about how maybe they're going to be the favourites coming into this year's competition. Such a settled lineup. They look very well drilled under Gary Wilson. Look, a completely different outfit to last year. Look at this collapse. It's a calamity collapse. 3 wickets for 1 run. We've lost 4 wickets for 19 runs. And all of a sudden, with the exception of that 48 from James McCollum, the Knights are all over the place.
Ruben Pretorius, a man from Woodvale, 30 years of age. He will become eligible for international selection for Ireland, I believe, in 2022 through the residency rule. He comes to the centre with both him and Neil Rock at the far end, yet to get off the mark. And 5 wickets down, and we're in the 13th over. And Kennedy's got a couple of wickets. Young, McBride and Wilson causing devastation. That's a good shot to start. Beats the outstretched hands of Graham Kennedy at backward point and away for 4 very welcome runs for the Knights.
Yeah, welcome runs indeed, John, because they're in big trouble here. Got to somehow find a way up towards 150. The extra pacey Young has caused that boundary just cut away. Young coming in to replace McBride. McBride finished his allocation of 4 overs. 4 overs, 1 for 20 for him. Outstanding as always from the Warriors captain. Just the 5 bowlers used, so you'd have to imagine they probably won't look for a 6th bowler. They can get through 2 more overs of left arm spin at Kennedy, and they've got Hume and Wilson to go alongside Young.
There's no reason to take Kennedy off. He got 2 wickets in his last over. There's a wicket for Chase in this one. Nothing kind of shot there. Look, he didn't chop it on. A reminder, Leinster Lightning won the opening match against the Munster Reds by 7 wickets. This is the second game this afternoon. 2 more tomorrow, 2 more on Sunday before we move to Bredy.
Yeah, shadows just starting to appear across the ground, John. Beautiful day for cricket. Let's hope we have this not just today and tomorrow and Sunday, but up in the northwest as well. They deserve a break with the weather up there. Had a few aborted attempts, haven't we, at various games?
Yeah,
the internationals.
that's the problem with the weather up there. Yeah, exactly. And even I believe that the first day of the World Test Championship final in Southampton was washed out today as well. New Zealand against India. So we've been pretty lucky to have the weather we've had today.
Yeah, I think at Royal Ascot they even ended up having a inquiry as to whether or not they were going to be able to go ahead. Such was the scale of rain, real thunderstorms and thunder showers. All sorts of memes appearing on social media of ducks in ponds being the Aegeus Bowl in Royal Ascot. But that's the end of the 13th. 82 for 5. Ireland, it's where it's at this summer.
Yeah, seems to be. Seems to be. We were looking in the IP 50 series. We only got, was it one game abandoned? Two games abandoned, and because of the weather. So that wasn't so bad when we considered we started in May.
Well, given how wet May was, John, it was a really good effort to get so much cricket in. And I think, in fairness, we often praise the ground staff teams around the country. They've deserved it. And good to see slightly nicer conditions for them to prepare better wickets. Now Kennedy to continue.
It's his third over. He's taken 2 for 15 in his previous spell, and he really has varied things up. There's Kennedy. Good to watch. 21-year-old from Derry. Hit on the up. And to Hume. They'll just take the single. Moves them on to 83 for 5 now in the 14th over. 6.4 overs remaining. The run rate, nothing to write home about. And 5 wickets back in the hutch as well. So they're going to have to try and build something here. We were talking about the Munster Reds trying to get towards the 150 mark. In the end, they only made 148 and it wasn't enough. If they get to 150 here, they'll bite your hands off, I'd say. It's a long way to go. Kennedy changing the angle of attack.
Yeah, the power hitting of Rossadair is to come. And do see when he gets to the crease, if he hits it, it stays hit. It's about as big a ball as anyone going around Irish cricket.
A stifled appeal. Pretorius unfortunately tested positive for COVID-19 on the first match of the Ireland Wolves tour to Bangladesh, and the match was abandoned. Thankfully he's okay now. Just the 2 runs from this Kennedy over. It's 2 for 17 now in the third over for him. This is the last ball of this over. Down towards William Porterfield. He's not going to cut that off, and it was only about a metre or 2 shy of becoming the maximum. That was well hit by Rock down a welcome boundary.
It's also less than a metre away from Andrew Blair White's head. Not sure he was paying too much attention. At his back turned, was having a chat to Heatley Tector. Dispatched. Good power from Rock. Just one bounce and it zipped off the turf right into the wall of the Pembroke clubhouse. Nothing William Porterfield could do about that. Kennedy so nearly getting out of his third over, just couldn't quite complete it. And we're going to see that 6th bowler used. I didn't think we might.
Yeah, Ross Allen, slow left-arm orthodox, made his first-class debut for the Warriors back in the 2017 Inter-Provincial Series. Ireland Day International, big tall man.
I think this is just an indication of the Northwest Warriors reading of the pitch as much as anything. That was interesting. It was Gary Wilson and William Porterfield having a conversation on the rope, saying maybe spin is the way to go on this wicket.
That was nicely dug out for 2 runs. The attempted Yorker. Pretorius dug that out into the offside and they picked up 2.
The problem for the Knights at the moment, John, is singles aren't going to cut it. They have to find a way to get at least a boundary every over. Spoken about the power of Ross Adair to come, but they're running out of time. 5 overs remain after this one. A really interesting tactic to see the 6th bowler come in and just try and get through maybe 1 or 2 overs of Ross Allen. They've got overs in the tank from both Hume and Craig Young.
All the fielders who have to be are inside the ring, and well, the stump cartwheels away, and that's another one down, and it's 91 for 6 now, and a first wicket for Ross Allen.
Well bowled, Ross Allen. Flat, darts it through. Rock looking to attempt the same stroke that he found the boundary with off the left arm spinner Graham Kennedy, but he's missed it completely. A little bit of turn actually as well for Ross Allen, maybe a sign of things to come over the next couple of days. And the off stump has gone for a walk, knocked clean out of the ground. Shows the pace that Ross Allen is bowling at. 6 wickets down. If the Warriors can get past what is going to be an attempted blitzkrieg, I've no doubt, from Ross Adair, who's coming to the crease now, they will be restricting the Knights to a really quite paltry total, John.
Yeah, 2 balls to come, and this is the 15th over. Yeah, it is Ross Adair, brother of Mark from CSNI. Made his T20 debut for the Knights only last year. Underage Irish international indeed, from under 13s to under 19s. Ex-rugby player as well from Ballynahinch, and a short stabby career with Ulster. And he's given up the rugby, and he's concentrating fully on his cricket, and a lot of concentrated needed out there now.
Spent some time over at Jersey, I think, on a professional contract there as well. I took him to the Netherlands as an Irish under 17, I think. Always been a good cricketer, dual sportsman. I'll tell you something, John, he hits the ball incredibly hard. You can see it there.
That's precise as well. Nothing wrong with the shot. 4 runs on his introduction, and they need them. Everything counts now. It's a nice shot. Just rock back at his heels, cut it behind square, and nothing the fielder could do about that. 95 for 6 coming up to the end of the 15th over.
Ross Adair has been playing his cricket up at Civil Service North this year. A lot of big scores opening up.
Well, they kind of half appealed, and then they decided they were all going to appeal, and nothing from it. So that's the end of the 15th over. It is 95 for 6. We're going to have a double change in the commentary box, thanks to Andrew Leonard for the time being. Andrew Blair White and Alan Lewis will be with you for the last 5 overs.
Well, 95 for 6 at the end of the 15th. A lot has happened, Andrew, since we were last on air.
And to my left here, Alan Lewis, with his arm out to his adoring fans, I would say.
Well, they've been on the soup most of the day, no doubt about that. They'll certainly be getting an invitation to a Headingley test. A grandstand, they'd be well versed there. We obviously saw Edgbaston Open. It's more like a England soccer match rather than a cricket game, but the game here, the Knights in real trouble.
It's a lovely shot from Ruin Pretoria. Stoke backward a point. Good work by Ross Allen. And on the third man boundary. It's been a innings that has just not really gotten going for the Northern Knights. A good start, 41 without loss.
Well, it's just petered along, hasn't it, Andrew, in the sense that they just haven't been able to accumulate singles, keep the strike rotating, and then they just got bogged down, and then it certainly looked as if Harry Tector had got a good ball from Craig Young. James McCollum played very well up top. they've struggled really ever since. And to a certain extent, you've got to give credit to the Northwest Warriors. I think they're going to be a hard team to beat in this competition, Andrew. They're playing with great togetherness.
Yeah, I think they've got a good mix and match of a lot of different things. They've got good pace bowling, a few decent medium pace bowlers, good options spin-wise, and most importantly, hard-hitting batters.
Well, when you consider you've got Nathan Maguire at around 6, William McClintock at 7, finishers, Porterfield on the back of 100, Andy McBride taking far greater responsibility at 3 within the side. You know, even when Kyle McGee batted 4, it was encouraging to see someone, you know, being given a chance in a good position. This guy, Graham Hume, has been fantastic for them all season. Miserly, very clever bowler.
Is miserly your word of the year, Alan? Because I've never actually heard you describe Graham Hume's bowling without using the word miserly.
Well, that's exactly what it is, Andrew. When you have an economy rate of under 4, you're miserly. If you want me to get another adjective, I will.
I think a trip to the thesaurus would do you no harm with miserly.
I'll be going to my English dictionary very shortly, looking for alternatives. But you've got to have a laugh. This is T20 cricket. It's here to be enjoyed. There's certainly a group to our left who are certainly enjoying themselves, but the place looks a picture.
Yeah, it's great to have people back in on the infamous Pembroke Wall, enjoying the cricket. Lovely day for it.
Adair getting that away off his chest area, away for 1. But it has been a real struggle. 16 gone now. Score not even 100. Certainly Andy McBride, the Northwest Warriors skipper, will be very happy with proceedings so far.
Yeah, hard not to beat. Having a look at that run rate there, it's just plateaued the last 8 to 10 overs after a pretty bright looking start delivered by James McCollum. They just have had no sort of consistency, and as you can see from those dots, plenty of wickets in that middle part of the innings, and I think it's underestimated how important that probably over 8 to 14 period is in T20 cricket. If you lose a clump of wickets in that, you're going to struggle to get back in the game.
And even there, no kind of real perception of what a single might be. And again, it might be another phrase I use quite a bit, but singles are your friend, Andrew, as you well know, but they just haven't been able to rotate strike, have they?
Well, no, but they seem to be going for much harder shots. They're going for the big money shot almost.
Bit untidy from Stephen. I don't know whether he's got... Yeah, leg buys, to be fair to Stephen Downey. Just thought he might have got himself a bit more legs. I'd get something on it, a pad, half a glove. Just prevent a run. Of course, the other thing which was quite interesting, I was speaking to Gary Wilson on Tuesday. You know, in preparation for this festival, they decided not to go home. They got themselves a practice session all day in Rush on the Thursday. Did their numbers, and again, that's beaten Downey behind the stumps. And again, just seems to come up a little bit early, and he'll be disappointed with that.
Well, I'm sure Ross Allen will be disappointed. Hey, this has missed the stumps. I must confess, certainly in my brief and undistinguished keeping career, I would have hoped that was going to rock into middle and leg stump there.
Well, it's only when you watch really good keepers that you begin to appreciate what a skill it is, particularly in this format of the game. I think of that great Gloucester side with Jack Russell behind the stumps, standing up to all the medium pacers. even people who bowled at genuine pace, always so enthusiastic, keeping bowlers going, keeping fielders going, get angles right in the field where people should be. Such a pivotal position if you've got a good wicket keeper, particularly in the limited over format. And maybe that's just a measure of the day that the Northern Knights have had. No real idea there. And Pretorius departs unceremoniously, easily run out. There was never probably a single there in any shape or form, and he gave up the ghost at the end.
Yeah, I think if anything was to sum up an innings, it would be that right there. Ross Adair just blocking it back to Ross Allen. There was a yes, no, and then a very much a sorry. Ruin Pretorius departs. 105 for 7 with 3 overs to go, and it's just been an innings that hasn't gotten off the ground in these middle overs, and they're limping along towards what you'd assume to be a very much below par score.
Paltry, Andrew. That's a good word for you.
Those are the sort of words I'm looking for.
Thank you. I'll try and bring a few crackerjacks out of the closet if I can. Again, for any of our viewers, if there's any words you'd like to bring to us that could describe events. Oh, that's a big shot short from Hume, and that has gone a long, long way, Andrew. That's nearly onto the railway tracks, that one. Huge shot from Adair.
Just goes to show the power Ross Adair has. Just short of a length from Graham Hume. Sat up for him. That's an almighty hit. It's a big, big shot out there to get it anywhere near the railway tracks. But Adair getting it over with ease. And if the Knights are to have any chance in this game, Adair's going to have to go boom in this last 3.
He won't be going boom, because he's nicked that straight behind to Donny, the keeper. And Hume has the last laugh as Adair departs. And again, really 8 down now for 105. A real disappointing performance, and you can see the gloom there for Adair. The joy for Hume, the joy for Donny, the joy for the Warriors. Right on top here. Super disciplined performance, and I'm going back to that piece that I spoke to you about earlier, Andrew. Again, they did their numbers, buses up and down, the travel, the distance, the duration. Of course, obviously 2 rushmen in their team, Doheny and Maguire. Good piece of negotiation, a really accommodating club, and Gary Wilson just told me that they had a fantastic day in Rush. Hospitality, and it just shows that, let's call it that, spirit of community in terms of cricket in Ireland. It's wonderful to see that little bit of innovation, something different, something new, and they've brought that togetherness here today. No doubt about that. They're a good side.
They are. They're a very good side, and they're a well-drilled side, and they seem to really be enjoying their cricket this year. You could have noticed it from the time we stepped up to Eglinton a month and a half ago on a bitter day up there, but you just could tell players were out removing sheets off the ground. They wanted to play. They played hard cricket. William Porterfield, quite infamously, was moving the sight screens in the second innings. There was a togetherness about them. There was a real will to play, a will to win, and it's transformed. They were arguably a little bit unlucky in the IP50 to not get over the line, and I think they're going to give Leinster a fair fright in this competition, both this week and up at home at Breedy next week.
No doubt, and of course David Delaney, who hasn't been representing Ireland where he had been for a while, obviously a huge talent, holds very quickly. It'll be very interesting to see how he goes today, and he can be a very hard-hitting batsman, that's one thing for sure, but it's going to have to be very hard for the next number of deliveries. Well, that's not going to be the way, and he's gone. Off stump removed unceremoniously.
Yeah, brilliant again from Graham Hume and brilliant from the Northwest Warriors. They just keep taking wickets here and the Knights can't get any momentum. Dave Delaney trying to shovel that one away on the leg side. It's just full and straight from Hume. And the off stump has gone for a walk. And the Knights, you can just see there on your scorecard, bar James McCollum, a fairly glum looking card.
Fionn Hand is passing us. The best catch Gary Wilson has ever seen is the call, and if you haven't seen it, tune in because it's one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. I'm sure it'll be sprayed on social media by Cricket Ireland tonight, but it was one hell of a catch. Cotton bowled. I haven't seen the likes of it before. Fantastic for any of our viewers out there. Get yourself onto the social media channels because I'm sure you'll pick it up. That again is another one. It's the first ball that Ben White has faced. It's for 4. Good thinking from Graham Hume to try and get it full. Look to Yorkham, no different to what he did to David Delaney. But Ben White was the wiser, got it away for 4 through extra cover. Good from him.
Yeah, well, Ben White's no mug with the bat in hand. Last year, certainly when he was back playing for his childhood club Phoenix, he had a couple of goes opening the batting actually as a bit of a pinch hitter. So he certainly isn't adverse to batting and batting quite well, and that was a shot of a man certainly can hold a bat. Excellent shot past extra cover for 4. You feel it's all a little bit too little too late at the moment for the Knights though. 116 for 9. They'll be disappointed with this effort.
Well, they're going to have to come out fighting, and that's going to be something that we just have to see. Is there a bit of fight in the belly from the Northern Knights? As Craig Young returns. That's nibbled away. That's well fielded by Jared Wilson. Excellently done. It's done well, Jared Wilson. Bowled tidily early on.
Well, those ones can often nip away for 4 there. And they go very fine here at Pembroke, so he's done very well. He's kept it to just a single as well. Craig Young, too good for Ben White on this occasion.
Don't think Ben fancied that too much, just between you and me.
Yeah, well, he's now citing, I think, that the side screen wasn't in the right position. That's perhaps a reasoning behind it.
There's always an excuse at the end of the day. Then when you changed the side screen before the ball was bowled.
Yeah. Our own clubman Killian McDonald putting in sterling yards out there. One of the volunteers here at Pembroke today.
Such a pity, of course, for this competition that we can't have greater numbers. That's scooted over deep backward point. Good piece of fielding from Shane Getgate out there, getting the ball in quickly. I sense this next delivery might be somewhere in the upper chest region, I would imagine. Oh no.
I think the next one might be after Ben White has absolutely thumped that over extra cover for 4. It's an excellent shot. A stand and deliver shot from Ben White. It's just in the slot here from Craig Young.
Which in itself is surprising. Particularly, you've got a number 11 at the wicket. Didn't look to fancy anything that was that little bit short, and as you say, Andrew, in the slot, got the treatment.
Yeah, I'd hazard a guess that potentially the next one may well be somewhere upstairs for Ben White to deal with. Mid-off comes into the ring.
I love predicting things, but there we go. No, he thinking that he got a nick on it, but he didn't. Half-hearted appeal. Ben White giving us a demonstration of what he was thinking of doing. It's a bit like when you dump one into the water in golf. And then you hit the next one. You kind of go, why didn't I do that first time?
Certainly I've had many experiences of dumping one in the water. But you'll struggle to find a man with a better practice swing in the game than myself.
Well, I hope you're not one of these laborious type players. Nothing worse on a golf course than slow play.
Now, there's usually a bit of fetching balls from right to left, but once I stand over it, usually quick enough.
Yeah.
I know people like you could well be behind me.
Certainly not. So it's Jared Wilson to bowl the last over. Again, you just feel, obviously, I nearly feel no matter what the Northern Knights get in the next 6 deliveries, it won't be enough. What looks a good pitch for batting. Obviously, there's a wee bit of talk about this. They're called the Pembroke Ridge, the pavilion end here, but it's looked a pretty good pitch with good pace in it and good for batting. And Graham McCarter's heaved that over deep mid-wicket. And that's a good start to the over. And immediately Andrew McBride instructs Craig Young to come up from fine leg into the circle, which is probably the right thing to do.
Very good shot from McCarter to start this last over.
We'll bowl that by Jared Wilson, falling in the block hole. And I think when it gets to the death of an innings, we've had this discussion around slower ball bouncers. I think batsmen at the highest level have become so adept of picking that sort of thing up that you can't really go far wrong. Yes, you can go wrong, but you know, if you can begin to perfect that fuller ball, there's only certain areas of the ground the ball can be hit. And that's scooted off an inside edge. Shane Getgate on it quickly. That's good fielding, although strange to throw at the bowler's end there. But a good piece of fielding. Got to the ball quickly, Andrew, which is the key thing.
Well, he's really done well out there on that boundary, Shane Getgate. It isn't easy to field out there. It's very hard, a little bit bumpy at times as well. Just it's where the rugby pitches are in the close season. That's another excellent shot, and Graham McCarter is giving this Northern Knights innings a little bit of impetus at the end here. He's flayed one away, backward a point in the air. Another boundary for him, his second of this over. And I know you said at the start of the over that probably any amount of runs wouldn't be enough, but it's always good to bring momentum into your bowling.
Absolutely, couldn't agree with you more. Well, we bear in mind that they were 105 for 9. Useful partnership this by 10 and 11. Great encouragement from Andy McBride. Well done to Jared Wilson. And that was good from Jared Wilson. Nice and full again. The only thing is just previous delivery gave that little bit of width, which of course is the crucial thing.
Yeah, last ball of the innings here. 11 from this final over with one ball remaining. That's good, very good feeling from Nathan Maguire. Got to the ball quickly, made sure that they couldn't get back for two there. That completes the Northern Knights innings. 135 for 9. They'll be A little bit disappointed with that. They'll think that's below par. Ben White and Graham McCarter both finishing with 12 not out, not 7 and 15 as it's telling you there on the graphics. 135 for 9 is the finishing score of the Northern Knights. And Alan, you'd have to hazard a guess that it's below par.
Well, it is below par from a good start. 42 in the power play. And again, it was just that tumble in the middle of the innings, cluster of wickets together. Again, couldn't seem to rotate the strike, and we're in real trouble at 105 for 9. But that last wicket put on 30. But you still feel, as you quite rightly say, Andrew, it's really probably not going to be enough unless, as you say, they get some sort of thunderous start with wickets in the power play. But again, it isn't won until it's over the line, as you say, Andrew, but the Knights have got to show a real bit of steel commitment and real drive and enthusiasm in the second half of this match.
Yes, 135 for 9 from their 20 overs. James McCollum starring with the bat for the Northern Knights. If you have just joined us, McCollum with 48 earlier today. It was an excellent innings, showing off his worth as an opening bat, even in the shortest format. But apart from that, they struggled a little bit, the Northern Knights. They certainly struggled in those middle overs. Plenty of players not even getting into double figures before Ruan Pretorius. Ross Adair both contributed with 12 and 11 respectively. But it was those late order runs of Ben White and Graham McCarter, 12 not out apiece, that could have given Northern Knights just a little bit of a squeak in this, and brought them up to that 135. Was very impressed with the Northwest Warriors. It was hard not to be with their bowling, led again by Craig Young and Graham Hume, who've been so impressive as their premier seam bowlers throughout the season so far in the 50 over format. Also wickets for Graham Kennedy and Ross Allen bowling their left arm spin. Ross Allen especially impressive when he was brought on at a tricky time of the innings. Graham Kennedy was also very good, taking a few quick wickets of James McCollum, and most importantly Mark Adair. Just second ball, Mark Adair out-stumped. But that's all for me. From now I'm going to hand over pitch side, where two greats of Irish cricket are there, Andrew Leonard and Alan Lewis.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew, and delighted to be joined by the former Ireland captain, Alan Lewis, who's only been able to join us for the second game today. A little disappointed with that, but always good to have your thoughts. You're looking spiffy, Alan. Been a really good afternoon of cricket. Good to see sunshine in and crowds back.
Absolutely. The most disappointing thing, of course, is that we don't have bigger crowds. We can only, of course, have 100 people accommodated. Great initiative, in fairness, by Cricket Leinster in terms of ticketing the show, but it certainly got off to a great start. The ground looks in great condition. Everyone's up for it, and we've got a crowd in from Mullingar who've been on the soup for the last 4 hours.
Might have been a few shandies taken. Alan, I want to talk predominantly about the summer ahead and the T20 World Cup later in the year, but firstly your thoughts on the big news of the day. Kevin O'Brien is calling time on his 50 over career, and 50 over career alone. Sad news, but time to move on perhaps, and he seems very happy with the decision from talking to him.
I'm sure he's very comfortable with the decision. You know, in any professional sport, in any sport at the highest level, there's a time for a finish. And I think in the context of where he's been and what he's achieved, you know, everything that he's achieved in the game personally, he's given, you know, a great lift to the team. He gave great lift to people, me, anyone else, as former players, spectators. You can talk about all the memories. I was there in Bangalore. I was there in Malahide. I've been at them all. In fact, I have the funniest story of all, because I was sitting in the SCG, and of course he's one of only 13 people who've scored hundreds in each of the international formats. And I'm chatting to this guy on the, an Aussie go, I'm here for Smithy's 300 or something, and I said, so I posed this question. I'll give you a hint. Kevin O'Brien is one of them, and he's looking at me as if to say, well, who's Kevin O'Brien? Well, he's done it. He's achieved it.
Yeah, an absolute world star. Kevin O'Brien calling time today on his 50-over career. We wish him well. Going to see him still smashing the ball everywhere in the T20 format, and hopefully a few test matches down the line. Alan, we spoke a little bit during the week down in the Mardijk about the tour of the Netherlands, the disappointment there. I don't want to dwell on that too much. I want to look forward, and I want to see a path forward for Irish cricket now. Incredibly important summer. 3 World Cup qualifiers against South Africa, 3 World Cup qualifiers against Zimbabwe, and then a whole litany of T20 cricket, including these festivals. They're going to build us up towards the T20 World Cup. What are you looking forward to? What are your hopes for the summer for Ireland?
Well, my hopes for the summer for Ireland is obviously, I think as a bowling unit, they're doing reasonably well. It's the balance of the team in terms of what people are doing. Obviously, in terms of the opening batting, we've discussed it at length, who potentially could stick their hand up there. Obviously, William Porterfield, he's an extraordinary fellow Tuesday, as well as he's batted in an interval of a chanceless innings, played beautifully, hit the ball so crisply, he doesn't want to give up. So it's going to be very interesting, but probably the hardest bit of all within the batting is no one has really kind of stuck their hand up. Today we saw a wee bit of the class of James McCullum. It's going to be very interesting to see in this format Stephen Doheney play. I thought it was quite interesting, Simi Singh opening the batting. I thought that was something that perhaps if they were leaving William Porterfield out, he's used to opening the batting. He actually played very well. He was
your chaos theory, the one you've described. Get Simi up the top and open up with Sterling.
I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying that at all. But what I think the difficulty the selectors have and the difficulty the coach has is no one's actually said, give me that spot. No one's actually said, I want to be the next one, because if you think of the history within Irish cricket, it's about younger players. It's about spotting someone and believing and taking it forward. I've spoken to you about this before, George Dockrell's career. We've had many, even William Porterfield himself.
Yeah, Paul Sterling as well, Andy Balbirnie. These guys have been identified young. Okay, so the first games of the summer, the 11th of July, 3 ODIs against South Africa, huge, tall task. It will have to be William Porterfield, surely, with Paul Sterling, particularly with O'Brien now retiring. But what about the T20s? We're going to see some youth, some dynamism. Who are you looking forward to watching throughout both these two festivals here in Pembroke and next week in Breedy?
Well, I'm looking for someone who's, in a sense, going to stick their hand up and say they want to be in that squad. And obviously James McCullum, as an example, started today. It's more the hitting and the batting. It's more this willingness to take the game on. And who are going to be the stars of the future in this format? Obviously, we've been held together in the main by Paul Sterling. But I was really impressed as an example with Graham Kennedy, the way he's come through this IP50, bowled really well today. More the shape and how he batted, the composure with what he batted, how he placed the ball, particularly if it's not a big, strong hitter of the ball. But these are the sorts of things where we identify players.
Yeah, I think Gary Wilson particularly impressed with him. Let's talk about some players to watch in this festival. A couple of selections from me, Alan. You can echo some more. For the Munster Reds, I want to keep a close eye on that left-arm spinner. Mike Foster into the side for the first time today. Really impressed with him. Young David O'Halloran has been outstanding for the Leinster Lightning with the ball throughout. And what about some batsmen? For me, William McClintock. Let's see the big man from the Northwest Warriors later on this afternoon. Luke Georges, another one I've identified. Really good stuff.
Don't forget Nathan Maguire.
So far. Yeah, Nathan Maguire as well, another power hitter.
And I think the other thing that Gary Wilson has done very successfully, Nathan Maguire opened all of last season, struggled with the moving ball. Gary has taken him down the order and given him really what he calls, even in his own words, a license to thrill. He doesn't really care if he gets out because he just wants him to play his natural game. He's a beautiful striker of a cricket ball, but just let him build into that process. He's played really well at youth level, but it's a confidence thing. It's building into a team. There seems to be a great spirit in their team.
Alan, would you like to see that licence to thrill employed now at the top of the order? For the Knights, Ross Adair was brought in down at 7 or 8. Surely you want to see a power hitter like him right up the top. The same with Nathan Maguire. Do you get him in opening? Perhaps with, do you even put William Porterfield at 3, or will they go the left hand, right hand? Will they go with Stephen Doheney, William Porterfield for the Warriors?
I think they'll go Stephen Doheney, William Porterfield. I would be with you. I think if you can get someone up the top of the order who's going to take that risk, someone who's going to get you 30 off 12 balls, 30 off 15 balls, so much more valuable, because it was effectively in the middle of the innings there where the Knights in the game here today lost it. fiddled around. There was no real positive stroke play. Singles weren't their friend. They didn't seem to have any sort of cohesive plan to what they were doing.
Do you make the Warriors your maybe second favourites to the Lightning, or is it really co-favourites of the two? They look the two strongest sides out of the four.
I've been really impressed, and again, another measure of that, I mentioned it on commentary, and again, innovation from the coach. You know, they played in Cork on Tuesday. They could have travelled all the way back up to Derry and back again and back up again. No. Obviously, they have two players from Rush playing in their team. They organised a training game on the Thursday, did their numbers, did their calculations, worked within budget. Clever thinking. Make the most of your resources. And I have to say, hats off to Gary Wilson for that.
Okay, Alan, I want to talk about the T20 World Cup. It's going to be later in the year. Most likely will be moved to the UAE. We'll wait for official confirmation from the ICC of that. Realistically, with Ireland's struggles in ODI cricket, particularly at the moment, the big days out on the global stage for Ireland are going to be at the T20 World Cups. They're not going to necessarily be at the 50-over World Cups. There's expansion in the T20 World Cup as well as expansion in the ODI World Cup. We'll have 20 teams playing from 2024 onwards. I'd certainly like to see us in that, but we're already in the 2021 edition. We'll have a chance to qualify for 2022. Got 12 names on the sheet in front of me.
Fire!
Which might give you 3 remaining wildcard slots, but I would suspect these 12 should at least be inked in, so I'm going to run through them. Balbirnie, Sterling, O'Brien, Tector, Tucker, Dockrell, McBride, Singh, Young, Little, McCarthy, Adair. You'd have to think those 12 probably, if not absolute dead certs, if they are fit and stay in form, would be likely to make up 12 of the 15. What else are you thinking of? Maybe some spin options, maybe some young dynamic power hitters coming into the squad as well?
I certainly think one name who could come into the reckoning is Graham Kennedy. I think he's really got something about him, and he's certainly prospered through this particular competition. Again, Graham Hume could be another who potentially comes into the reckoning. Bowls very.
Do you see him in a T20 format at the pace he operates at?
I wouldn't say no. Like I think there's this insatiable appetite with, like obviously we've got, you know, within the squad of what we've got in terms of how Little has improved. Obviously Craig Young in terms of leading the attack. I don't think the issue has been our bowling. The issue has actually been our batting. And what you're actually looking at is who are the people who are going to come in and play the types of role that Kevin. Obviously, we've talked now. He's injured. As Gareth Delaney had a stellar start to his T20 career.
Let's talk about Gareth Delaney, an X-Factor player, no doubt. Probably unlikely to be fit. Maybe we'll wait and see how that plays out. But what about some X-Factor names? What about Ben White as a leg spinner? David Delaney, if he's fully fit at express pace? Well, maybe a power hitter like Ross Adair, William McClintock. Can they get themselves into the mix?
I think so. And I think they're the sorts of areas that, you know, in a sense, within these competitions we're going to see, because Nathan Maguire certainly has such a natural power game. Again, where he bats William McClintock, you're absolutely right. And again, he's someone at under 19 level internationally has done it. It certainly won't worry him. He's not going to be in any way fazed by it, a little bit like Josh Little. That's something that kind of impresses you when you look at international level. A part of it is that mental side, that psychological side. Who's got the appetite for it? Whether David Delaney has the appetite, I'm not sure, because in a sense he hasn't really shown that. I suppose it's a great disappointment to a lot of people, because you've got a bowler that bowls at 145k, thank you for that, Lenny, 90 miles an hour. But you know, whether he has the appetite to take that forward, I'm not sure. We can only wait and see.
Spin is going to play a huge factor, whether the tournament is in India or in the UAE. We've seen Ireland have some success out in Sharjah and Abu Dhabi and Dubai, where the games will most likely be played. There's even some talks that maybe if it gets moved to the UAE, we might see preliminary stages, the group stages of the competition in Oman as well, where Ireland have experience. You'd have to think they're going to need to look at another spinner, Singh and McBride, the incumbents, but they might need to not just look at one more spinner, but maybe two. Ben White is a young leggy that a lot of people have been talking about. JJ Garth given just one over today. Do we need to be showing our spinners a lot more love around this Inter-Provincial setup?
Your favourite word for your leg spinners, Lenny. I think Ben White's got, you know, real capability, because he has that ability to drift the ball in. He bowls high like an Afridi. He gets that natural drift in. He doesn't really have the other one too much, but he troubles people if he can bowl wicket to wicket, and he does turn his leg spinner. So he is certainly someone that you would be looking at. Obviously, JJ doesn't seem to be getting the exposure having been in the squad. If he's only getting one over today, as you say, that's a faith thing, and I'm just sometimes we're never going to understand the dynamic of what's happening in a team, how he's doing at training, where he's been, these sorts of things. But certainly it's an inspirational thing that Ben White has done. He's obviously gone to get more accustomed within the Knights framework, so he's definitely one to watch, and he's obviously one the coaches are watching because he's done reasonably well.
Alan, the coaching setup, no doubt many questions being asked in terms of how do Ireland bounce back now. Really disappointing tour of the Netherlands. How do you combine the dual tasks of the importance of those Cricket World Cup qualifiers coming up against South Africa and Zimbabwe with trying to find out who your best squad is in the T20 format going ahead to that World Cup? It's a very difficult task, and quite often we've ended up picking up the same squads for both formats. Would you like to see lots of new players given a chance throughout the summer?
Well, it's not so much not lots of new players. I think you're looking at players capable for all the reasons that you're talking about, and particularly in the T20 format, in terms of people who can be explosive. That's a different thing. I think some of the things that you kind of saw from me in the games in the Netherlands, I've spoken to you privately about this before. I couldn't understand why we batted first in the last game. I'm just talking in pure momentum terms. Having beaten the Netherlands so handily, walloped them in the second game, they've batted poorly in 2 games, and we invited their momentum to us as opposed to actually taking it to them. Let them have a stew about how their batting was. I just thought that was a strange tactical decision, and again there just seemed a bit, there wasn't that kind of let's get up and at them a little bit that we have done so in the past. And we've talked about these types of team dynamics before, and the Dutch kind of took it away from us. But 50 over format a little bit different. I think South Africa, Porterfield's experience will be told, and again the other side of things is obviously he played so well last week. He clearly still has the appetite, having spoken to him. He's not forgiving him. And I thought he changed a little bit of technique. I know you and I spoke about it. Just opened himself out to get his kind of leg out of the way so he could... And he looked much more comfortable. I don't know whether it's true or not, but there we are.
Well, we're going to find out if William Porterfield can continue that return to form. This time in the shortest format, it was a magnificent century he made there at the Mardyke to show all his class and all his experience. The umpires behind us have gone out. There are the thoughts of Alan Lewis and me, Andrew Leonard. Let's get over to John Kenny and Andrew Blair White for this chase. It's going to be 136 to win.
Spot on, yep. 135 for 9. The Northern Knights made having lost the toss and were put into bat. Interesting thoughts from our fireside chat in the middle of a sunny day. If you excuse it. And James McCollum top scored for the Knights on 48. And a little cameo at the end between Ben White and Graham MacArthur took the score on from 112 for 9 to 135 for 9. So it's a relatively modest total. Andrew Blair White, you would think, given the right set of circumstances, the Warriors should chase this down quite easily.
You'd have to think so, certainly based off the sample size of this pitch we've got. It seems like 135 would be less than par. That being said, if the Knights were to get a few early wickets, try to get a bit of unrest in the Warriors camp, then you would never know. But Graham MacArthur is going to open the bowling. He's been so good in the 50 over format. We'll be interested to see how he adapts in the 20 over format. And the man in form, William Porterfield, takes strike.
And immediately, that's one less run to chase down. And Porterfield, who was elevated, or back into the order, I should say, in the games against the Netherlands in the World Series. Didn't work out there either, but a very good knock during the week against the Munster Reds. A swing and a miss from Porterfield. He's showing his intent earlier on. First 2 balls, he's been dancing down the track.
Yeah, I think Graham MacArthur bows that in-between sort of pace that it's a little bit unnerving as a batter almost if you stay in your crease, and therefore Porterfield's trying to be proactive and make something happen, get down to the pitch. It'd be interesting to see whether Neil Rock will actually stand up to MacArthur later on today.
One slip in place for William Porterfield, who gets bat to ball for the first time. And Stephen Donaghy will face for the first time. Stephen Donaghy from Rush, their wicket keeper. Left-right combination here again, so They'll try and keep the scoreboard ticking over, just moving the field around as they work through, let's say, a relatively modest total of 135, 136 for victory here. And the game between themselves and Leinster Lightning, I'm not going to be writing off the lights yet, but it'll be an interesting game to come up in the next couple of days. The Warriors and the Leinster Lightning, who won earlier on today. That's another wide down the leg side, just straying offline. Can't afford to be giving away too many extras.
No, certainly not, especially with a score that you think might be maybe 10-15 runs light at minimum. You can't be giving away a few easy wides. Stephen Downey, though, they'll be looking for good runs this weekend.
Yeah, that's a good shot. Up and over extra cover. That's going to run away all the way to the boundary. And it was too short. And it got the treatment it deserved. And despairing dive from the fielder down there. Just couldn't cut that off. And first boundary of the reply.
Yeah, a bit of a long half volley there from Graham McCarter. But it's a lovely shot from Stephen Downey. Loves to access that extra cover region.
Again, down the track they come. They're intending to get these runs quickly, it seems. That's 2 boundaries in a row. Pretty much the same area. The first one was up and over extra cover. That was through the covers for 4, and nothing the fielder could do about that. And it moves them on to 11 without loss, and we're only in the first over.
Yeah, very good proactive batting from Doheny. Sometimes these smaller chases in 2020 cricket can be a little bit slippery if you just allow things to happen, if you react rather than be proactive. Seems the Warriors have obviously come out to try and play their shots, try to get well ahead of the 8 ball.
Nicely pushed down the ground as well. It's a long chase. They won't cut that off though. That's 3 boundaries in a row, and that's a huge start for the reply for the Warriors. It moves them on to 15 already, and we haven't even ended the over.
Yeah, now this is just pure class from Stephen Doheny. This just goes to show how much ability he has. Just a little push down the ground, mid-on quite wide because they had a slip in place. Just 3 men on the leg side. That slip has now gone into mid-wicket. It's already a morale boosting start for the Warriors.
Yeah, that's a good stop off his own bowling by MacArthur, but that was expensive. 15 off the first over, and it's 15 without loss, chasing that victory target of 136. And the Northwest Warriors off to a good start.
Yeah, super start. And Harry Tector, the Knights captain, will be looking at Mark Adair for inspiration here. Opening the bowling from the Willfield Road end of the ground. He's a big game player, Mark Adair. He loves the big occasion. He's been bowling at good pace this year as well. But he's going to have to pull a real rabbit out of the hat today. One figures if he's going to get the Northern Knights in this game. He's going to have to take quick wickets because that's what the Knights require. If they don't take the wickets, the Warriors will have no issues polishing off 136 runs.
Disappointed when he came to bat. Mark Adair just lasted 2 deliveries. Got a slip in place, backward point. He's got a long third man, short fine leg.
You know, we're hoping for 25%.
Maybe bowls one down the leg side, but
and it's been raining most of the day, like you said. But we are in a dry period now.
Porterfield has stepped across the stumps and he doesn't get the wide.
I mean, there are a few people just coming in now.
Yeah, Porterfield looking to pull that off just back of a length. He does like that shot, always has done. He's just playing that off length purely. But Adair rushing him through there.
It's up and over everybody's head, and a diving attempt at the catch. It doesn't come off, and it's good fielding down there. Actually, they didn't give up on the ball, so just the 2 runs from it. It was all happening out there. Just flipped over his head by Porterfield, diving catch. It didn't quite come off.
Yeah, it's just hit the gloves of Porterfield there, and Pretorius has made a sterling effort at short fine leg to try and catch that, and actually brilliant work from Luke Georgeson it was, who's gone from first slip all the way down to fine leg to stop that boundary. Wonderful commitment and saves 2 runs.
That's a good shot. No need to run for that. Beautiful shot from a man who's, as you say, in form. disappointed against the Netherlands, but returned to form then, I suppose. That's a lovely shot from Porterfield, the 36-year-old former Irish captain.
That's just in the slot from Marco there. Porterfield just swinging through the line. Looks like these two are going to play their shots there.
Could be home early. The way things are going out there. Two Adair brothers in the Northern Lights lineup today. Ross, the 27-year-old, Mark, 25. Ankle reconstruction surgery at the start of 2020 for Mark Adair. And he was, if you don't mind me saying so, carrying a bit of timber when he was down on the West Indies, playing against the West Indies for Ireland. But since that reconstruction, he really has slimmed down, looks very fit. Just ask the question there, Adair. Porterfield, as he does, leans on his bat and thinks about that previous delivery and then resets himself for the next one.
Yeah, much better bowling, much better length from Mark Adair there, just more of a in-between length. Harder for Porterfield to just stroke through the ball as he did so a couple of deliveries prior, whereas that little bit more floaty, more in the hitting arc.
Yeah, that's a nice shot. There's two feelers out there, but they won't cut that off. It's going to roll away down the hill, down towards where the screens are. And that's another 4 runs to William Porterfield. A couple of boundaries in this over takes him into double figures. Nice shot.
Yeah, it's a seriously good shot from William Porterfield. Only a player in form can play that type of shot. Just forcing one off the back foot. Just a punch between point and cover there. Just goes to show just how quick this outfield's been so far today, and what it will be for the rest of this weekend as well. You'd like to hope we might see a few high scoring games both tomorrow and on Sunday.
Well, for the Warriors today, no Conor Alfert on their side. He's sidelined through injury. Irish international Stuart Thompson also is out injured. That's a lovely shot. It really is top class stuff from Stephen Donaghy. 2 steps down the wicket, bashed it away to the covers for another boundary, and these runs are coming very quickly now.
Yeah, well, I must wonder at this stage, with the pace that Graham McCarthy's operating at, why is Neil Rock not up to the stumps? And now looks like they're going to finally put that into place. Stephen Donaghy's just been using his feet almost every delivery of McCarthy so far. He's operating at a pace that somebody like Neil Rock could easily stand up to. He's an excellent keeper, excellent young keeper from Rush. It just adds a different dimension now to how Donaghy approaches McCarthy. Could be a little bit trickier to keep up to the stumps and not being able to come down the track like he has been.
Yeah, it's a good spot, Andrew, and they did as you suggested almost immediately. 29 without loss now in the third over. They're going to have to try something, and MacArthur's bowling pace would suggest that a man of Rock's ability should be able to stand up to the stumps. He's changed obviously his headgear. He's got the helmet on now rather than the soft cap. Porterfield 11, Donaghy on 16.
Just goes to show, even in the 2 balls now that Neil Rock's been up to the stumps, Donaghy more trapped in his crease. Suddenly it becomes an awful lot harder to hit MacArthur. He's blocked one out to point, then trying to hustle one into the leg side for a single, nothing there. MacArthur can keep bowling that back of a length delivery, which is usually a stock ball. Takes a much harder shot. Not saying it's not possible, but takes a harder shot and usually a better try for a boundary.
Oh, well, there you go. Up and over extra cover. And the despairing dive. Can't pick it up from Pistorius. Or Georgeson, my apologies. I think that is Georgeson, yeah. It's gone up and over his head, and that's the second time that's happened for Donaghy. Yeah, it does. It requires a better shot because he's just going to not dance down the track. This time just gave himself a little bit of room and whacked it away for another boundary.
Yeah, but MacArthur will be disappointed with that. It's just too short on this type of pitch. It's just sat up and begged to be hit, and Downey needs no second invitation when you're 20 not out off 8 balls. You're usually seeing the ball pretty well, and he's absolutely thumped that. Georgeson's got no chance there. He's in quite tight at extra cover, but it's been a blistering start here from the Northwest Warriors, already getting that run rate required under a run a ball.
Yeah, threw the shot before the ball arrived on that particular occasion. As a dart trundles by away to our right hand side. The boys from Mullingar have gone quiet recently, but they've been quite rambunctious and loud throughout the day. It's great to hear some voices in the crowd as well. And there's only a small crowd of 100 people, and we'll be here again tomorrow and also on Sunday, weather permitting. This seems to be his favourite shot, all right. That's another boundary. MacArthur is getting the treatment here. Donaghy moves on to 24, and they're now less than 100 needed.
Yeah, another excellent shot, strong shot. Georgeson will be a little bit disappointed with that effort at extra cover. It can be a difficult place to field, mind, especially that side of the ground. It can be a little bit bumpy, but he'll be disappointed. He should be stopping that on the Northern Knights. Unfortunately, with this sort of start, you just can't build any sort of...
Facing on 11. And Donaghy's partner at the other end has been powering the ball all over the ground for that 24 of just 10 deliveries. And as Andrew's been saying, they're below a run a ball now. Run rate just over 12. Well, there's an introduction for you. Thank you and good night. Straight down the ground from Porterfield. That's a class shot.
It's a super shot from Porterfield. Unfortunately, one of our cameramen, Jer, almost wearing one on the knee there. Down at long on.
He's made his strong stuff.
Not sure he saw that one. It was a late reaction, that's for sure.
Oh, that's the way. They get a wicket, and the applause from the supporters that are here, and Georgeson clings on to that one. White gets a wicket with a second delivery. Porterfield thumps him down the ground with the second ball of White's over. He perishes, just reaching for that, and straight into Georgeson's very, very safe hands, and the first wicket falls to the score on 41.
Yeah, good bowling from Ben White, not afraid to toss the ball up yet again there, despite having been hit for 4. Porterfield took the bait, trying to access that offside field, and perishes, but certainly showed plenty of intent for his 15, and showed probably a sign of where the Warriors are at with their cricket in terms of how aggressive they're approaching this run chase. And this is a really interesting move, and a move I really back here, seeing young Nathan Maguire come in at number 3. He hit one of the biggest sixes I've ever seen on Tuesday down in the Mardyke over the clubhouse, which is a massive hit. He's a naturally gifted ball striker, and these two will know each other very well, Maguire and Donny, two Rush clubmates, or formerly Rush clubmates. Stephen's obviously gone to now play for Merrion. Nathan's been playing a bit of cricket up in Glendermot up in the northwest this year as well, but he's a fascinating young talent in the Irish under-19 squad.
Yeah, he's only 17 years of age. Right-handed bat, has to think from Porterfield's left-handed stylings. So Mark Adair's got into first slip just to greet the new batsman. 41 for 1 in the 4th over. The Warriors still very much in the box seat with a terrific start. 41 for the first pair, and a good stumping attempt right up on the block hole. That tried to dig it out, a big puff of dust as the ball went through from the bat, hitting the ground. Chance of 2 here. Yeah, well, a little bit of a misfield, and a fielder down there just tumbling over. He's okay, but just the 1 run. Possibly could have got a second there, since the fielder down there tumbled over, but decided discretion's a better part of valour on that particular occasion. So Maguire off the mark.
I suspect Nathan Maguire won't need any second invitation to come out and play his shots. I'm sure that's the reason he's up the order. I'd say Doheny will continue on his merry way as well. 24 off 10 deliveries, 6 fours. He hasn't actually scored a run that hasn't been a boundary so far.
And it's coming our way, and it's coming up and over our heads. Do you want me to get that?
Well, somebody's going to be needed to hold that one in.
Mr. Gallagher, there's a ball down here.
This is a super shot from Stephen Doheny towards the pavilion here at Pembroke. Inside out over extra cover. That's such a hard shot to play, and Doheny will have been a little bit disappointed with how he's played in the 50 over competition this year. But it's just going to show just how much ability this young man has. 30 not out of 11 balls and some serious ball striking.
Well, that ball has... I heard it clattering amongst the bins behind us. Anyone finds it, it's mine. Okay? Need it for the RTA cricket team next week. We do it a few white balls. But every run he scored so far in boundaries. And that was a huge, huge hit. 6 o'clock on the nose. We can hear the peal of the church bells behind us. Changing the field captain. Harry Tector just in front of us now. It's long off. Runs flowing. Oh, finally he takes a single.
Feels like a bit of an anticlimax.
Totally. That was eventful over. 4 wicket. Dot ball. 1, 6, 1. 49 for 1 at the end of 4.
Yeah, very destructive start from the Northwest Warriors. I think that's the best way to describe it. But this is going to be interesting. We're going to see David Delaney come into the attack for the first time today from the St. John's end. Be interesting to see whether he'll be able to ramp it up to his maximum pace. Perhaps not. He's still coming back off an injury that's kept him out. I think he'll be off a shortened run-up as well, but he certainly can get it through. He's a really good competitor, and he'll want to rush it through here.
Yeah, cousin of Gareth Delaney is also injured. Irish women's captain Laura back in the squad after that knee injury, and it does look like a pretty shortened run-up, all right, for Delaney, just testing things before he bowls to Donaghy, who's in imperious form out there on 31. And he generated a lot of speed there off a very short run-up.
Yeah, certainly still able to get it through, David Delaney. You won't see many people in Ireland that can generate that sort of pace off that shorter run-up.
He's 23 years of age. Plays his club cricket with Clontarf. Debut for the Leinster Lightning in the 2017 Inter-Provincial Cup. Now playing with the Northern Knights. Just over pitch slightly. That's a good stop.
Yeah, change up there from Delaney.
50 up in the 5th over.
It's been an excellent start from the Knights. The only worry with somebody like David Delaney is when you're bowling at this sort of pace, any type of width or any sort of thick edge is just going to fly away. You can see just off your camera Neil Rock and Mark Adair, the keeper in first slip, well back here. This is good pace.
Well, he could use that pace as well, can't he? That's a lovely shot from Nathan Maguire. Just lifted it over that cordon of slip, gully and backward point. There is a man down there as well, but he was never going to get that. That went like a rocket.
Well, as I said, Nathan Maguire is one of the most clean ball strikers in the whole of Ireland for just 17 years of age. That is an unbelievable shot over backward point.
That's another one. That is gone Paul Sterling length into, I don't know, next gone to Railway Union, that one. That has gone absolute miles. What a huge shot. I think it's the biggest 6 of the day.
That's an enormous shot from Nathan Maguire, and it's great to see a sign that summer's back at Pembroke. Wild Bill going to retrieve the ball from the nearby gardens. Nathan Maguire has hit that an almighty distance. And the great thing about Maguire is he never really looks like he's even giving it a whack. It's just pure timing. And those 2 back-to-back 6s.
And our match referee Kevin Gallagher busy in the last while, bringing out new Kookaburra balls.
He's getting his daily steps in, that's for sure.
He certainly is, yeah. That's 2 magnificent shots. The first one, up and over the cordon, was just beautifully crafted, just run off the face of the bat, using the pace of the ball. But that one was a magnificent maximum. 10 off the last 2 balls. And a dot ball, another anticlimax. And that ends the 5th over. So, on their merry way, 62 for 1. Let's have a double change with Andrew Leonard and Alan Lewis taking you through the next 5 overs.
Thank you, JK. Thank you, ABW. Alan, a little delayed, maybe 3 balls delayed. That was huge.
Absolutely massive. And you asked me at what we call the fireside break who you might take to a T20 World Cup. Well, number 11 on his back out there, Nathan Maguire. One thing I would say about it, I think Gary Wilson has handled him superbly, because he just gave him breathing space in the 50 over games at 6s and 7s, and now in this format, lo and behold, no Andrew McBride at 3, it's Nathan Maguire at 3. This kid can hit it long distances. And funny enough, look at him in stature. Who does he remind you of?
Well, it's Paul Sterling incarnate, isn't it? The long sleeves. Even the body language actually quite similar to Paul Sterling. Looks very relaxed at the crease, but just those 2 shots alone off the extreme pace of David Delaney, they have got me salivating, Alan.
Well, when you're salivating, Lenny, I am happy. But, you know, this is the sort of thing that, in a sense, these tournaments will do, and I'm sure and I hope Graham Ford is looking on, because this is a kid of great ability. And another one that I'm hoping, and again in terms of style of play and how he goes about his business, is the man on strike now, Stephen Downey.
It's hit into the sky. Going to be work to do at mid-on. Can he nestle under it? He can't. And just worry as well, because it's James McCollum who's had those injury problems, and you just wonder, was that in the back of his head? As he landed, he did land a little heavily. Never ended up getting even a hand on it, Alan.
Well, I have no doubt that was in the back of his mind, because he didn't really move quickly back enough initially. And again, to go, the difficulty that he's had with that shoulder, I'm sure it was on his mind.
Yeah, if you're just wondering what we're referring to, 12 dislocated shoulders or something to that effect, as that's worked into the leg side. More work to do for McCollum. Going to be in action again, and he's having to put his body on the line again. He does it really well. Superb work. Cuts off the boundary. With this batting effort from the Northwest Warriors, nothing short of outstanding at the moment. And both Doheny and Maguire really setting the pulses racing.
Well, the other thing was, which was superb, was Stephen Doheny got back for 3.
That one's just picked up into the leg side, and I just wonder, has that been taken? The immediate signal from the square leg umpire, Mark Hawthorne, is out, and that is a stunning catch to end a quite remarkable little cameo. It's only lasted 7 deliveries. It was a bit of a long hop really from Ben White. It was picked up into the leg side, and David Delaney's sprinted in and clung on just inches from the turf. You won't meet a more honest young cricketer than David Delaney. He says it's out. Mark Hawthorne had a good view of it. He says it's out. I would have liked to see that innings last a little longer, but it's been short in time. Maguire's gone for 14 off 7 deliveries.
Yeah, he picked it up really well there, Andrew, but David Delaney committed, coming in, diving forward, took a great catch out of deep square leg. In a sense, just swatted there. You just wonder, could he have got it more aerial? Or was he actually aware where David Delaney was? One of the interesting things, but as you say, a wee cameo. We saw enough in 7 deliveries, Andrew, to tell us a few things. And again, in this format, when you're looking for players who can excel in T20 cricket, I think the name Nathan Maguire is one that can.
18 years of age, Nathan Maguire. Remember the name. A youngster from Rush in County Dublin who's made his way up to the Northwest Warriors. He had that impressive debut 50 just a couple of innings ago against Leinster up in Eglinton. Nearly got the Warriors to spring a surprise. Going to be another power hitter. The Northwest Warriors as power hitters to beat the ban. Shane Getgate in at number 4. Haven't even seen big William McClintock yet.
No, and this is again certainly a change in format from the coach Gary Wilson in terms of his innovation. Get your strikers in early, and Shane Getgate is one of those, as he has proved on many occasions. Batsman who's improved and perhaps has been a little bit unlucky in terms of, is he a bit of this, is he a bit of that? But for me, I think Shane Getgate, in terms of future progress, should be concentrating on his batting. He's a fantastically clean striker of the ball, very powerful down the ground, Andrew, and I'm sure he will be relishing this situation.
A bit of a dream situation, really. No pressure at all. 70 for 2 after 6. Just how far under par are the Northern Knights?
Incredibly under par. I thought it was such a drab performance with the bat. There was no real structure to the innings. James McCollum was very good up front, but in the middle, really, it just petered out, and there was no real sense of urgency. There didn't seem to be a plan to me. Again, no rotation of strike, and it really came to a tame end. And bar a last wicket partnership of 30, it really was a very much below par batting performance.
Yeah, 112 for 9, the Northern Knights. They limped quite literally to 112 for 9, but did end up with 135 thanks to those 8 runs from McCarter and White. Great to see David Delaney back, but the extra pace is providing extra pace to work with for the batters. And do not correct your screens. That is the first delivery Shane Getgate has faced. That's the modern game, Alan.
It's without doubt the modern game. That is a fantastic shot from Shane Getgate. Everything right about it. Huge wrist action into the ball. Left leg out of the way. The way these modern players play down the ground like this is so good to watch.
Through the offside this time. Delaney's just been a little too full. We saw the one short ball dispatched miles down the gardens by Nathan Maguire. The 2 full deliveries. The first one pumped down the ground for 6. This one a little more conventional through the offside for 4. Really good batting from Shane Getgate.
I think there'll be a lot of questions in that Northern Knights changing room after the game, Andrew. I don't know what your sense of their team performance was.
Gary Wilson said to me at the halftime break, we haven't batted on this pitch yet, we don't know how good a score it is. I think he was just trying to not jinx his team. They are absolutely hammering the Northern Knights here. We thought this could be quite a close game. The old Northern Derby, such proud unions, the Northern Cricket Union, the Northwest Cricket Union, but right now the men in blue are giving the men from Belfast an absolute spanking. And the spanking is going to continue. This one's spanked into the nets at Pembroke. Watch out, kids. The ball's coming towards you. Stephen Doheney hammers a back of a length delivery from Delaney. Delaney really expensive today. This is punishing from the Warriors.
Well, I think the question mark, Andrew, is will this game be over before we finish our commentary stint? This might be a 10-over finish for them.
John Kenny shouting on the sideline, just wrap it up there, lads. Be done before 10 overs. Interesting delivery, that one. Really good Yorker. Probably about a 6th stump, but Doheney had gone so far outside his leg stump he didn't even attempt a shot. So 7 overs gone, 88 for 2. This is more like the power hitting you expected at T20. And right now it's looking like a 2-division T20, and it's looking like the Lightning and the Warriors, 2 different sides to the Knights and the Reds.
Well, certainly with the way the Knights are playing today, I'd say Munster might be licking their lips.
Yeah, Ben White, the only one really to come out with any credit from the night so far. 2 wickets for him, well deserved. Very difficult, isn't it, when you're trying to make a name for yourself as a young spinner and your colleagues are being hammered all around the ground, but he's holding his composure really well, and good to see the slip still in place. Can he find himself a third or a fourth, get his name up in lights? Lucky to get away with it there. Harry Tector quite close in at cover. If that had beaten him, it would have surely beaten James McCollum in the deep for 4 more.
Absolutely. Well, I think probably Shane Getgate would be more disappointed. That ball was full. Either side of Harry Tector was going to be 4. It races away down into the pavilion here in Pembroke, and you could hear that swish of anguish from Getgate missing out there.
Really nicely bowled and almost half a chance for Ross Adair. That would have been not just the catch of the year, probably the catch of a lifetime for Ross Adair. He dove full length to his right, couldn't even get a glove on it. We've seen one cracker today from Fionn Han. This would have been ridiculous, really.
Well, it would have been ridiculous, but I don't think you're going to beat a cotton bowl catch like it. Could go wild on social media, that catch.
Yeah, going viral already, I reckon, that Fionn Han one. Picked up into the leg side. This is the power that Getgate just delivers now. Spoke about 12 names for the T20 World Cup squad. Have we not mentioned Shane Getgate? Well, surely he's got to be in the mix.
He's got to be, and this is the other part. I think part of Shane's problem has been that he's regarded as that wee little bit of bits and pieces. And you've talked about someone in terms of an engine room who can bat in those areas, and you talk about replacements for Kevin O'Brien. Shane Getgate is a very, very good player. And I think if he concentrated a wee bit more, I'm sure he does, because he's an assiduous worker, Shane Getgate, lovely guy. But, you know, it's a great opportunity for him now. And that's why that is absolutely fantastic batting.
Just a little bit of flight this time, sorry, Alan, from White. And Getgate absolutely flying. 23 off 8 deliveries. Again, this time over the offside. We see him so regularly through the leg side. The flight allowing Getgate to access a different part of the wicket. Brilliant batting, like you said. Brilliant batting, and he cleared that left leg a wee bit to give himself that flow. And there they are, the Mullingar Mafia. David, someday the men from Mullingar. Great to see them back, and great to welcome fans back all throughout the weekend. We'll have full houses, 100 people on both tomorrow and Sunday. I'm sure we're going to
house of 100 people.
Well, it's the full house by the COVID regulations.
Correct,
Alan.
Indeed, I know that, Andrew.
Well, hopefully hoping they will ease. We might be able to get a few more in up at Breedy next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday again. Slip comes out of place and Shane Getgate hammers him down the ground. This is more like the quality of cricket we want to see this weekend. We've seen limpet-like efforts from Munster and from the Knights. The Warriors are making a massive statement here. 6 more to the total. They've brought the 100 up, and they've brought it up inside 8 overs.
Well, that's exactly the word I was going to use, Andrew. They've made a statement, and they've made a statement in many ways. Nathan Maguire in at 3, Shane Getgate at 4. These are the changes that the coach Gary Wilson has brought. And you talk about innovation, I spoke about it earlier. They spent a day in Rush practicing. They didn't go home. They really want to do well in this competition, and they're showing the way. Look at that, 46 from 22, Stephen. 29 from 9 deliveries from Shane Getgate. Wonderful. And absolutely brilliant from both Andy McBride and Gary Wilson, saying the tactics have to be different for the T20 stuff as opposed to the 50 over stuff, because they've said, McBride, you're going to bat at 3 in the 50 overs, the longer formats, but you're not a power hitter. So in the power hitting format, we're going to go Maguire at 3, Getgate at 4. We might even see McClintock at 5. We're going to go with a violent assault. We're going to go at the opposition. We're going to play the type of cricket to make that statement, to say we're not just here to beat the Knights today. We're here to win this competition. We're going to go soar to the top of the table with a massive net run rate victory. Bonus point win on the way. Adair back into the attack. Now that again is a super shot from Stephen Doherty. Just used the pace to work it wide of backward point, and it's 50 for Stephen Doherty, and I'm sure that will please him. Obviously, personally, it's something we've been waiting for, because this boy is a very, very good player. Look at the room he gave himself there, Andrew, to get that away on the offside, and that's the risk. And you can see the Northwest Warriors bench, they're all up their seats. This is a team in harmony together, and I love the way they're playing.
It's a new era for the Northwest. New era for the Warriors under Gary Wilson. Brilliant batting from Stephen Doherty. Ends up trying to ramp and scoop and gets himself in all sorts of a tangle. That 50 coming from 23 deliveries, 7 4s and 2 6s. Stephen will not mind me saying it has been a dreadful start to the season for him. The change of formats has changed things around. All of a sudden, he's finding his touch. Perhaps those shackles have been freed from a difficult time at the start of the year. Everything felt like an audition to go and open in those critical World Cup qualifiers. Now it's just go out and bat with freedom.
Well, again, another statement, just advancing down the way and just swatting Mark Adair straight for 4. Unbelievable batting here from Stephen Doherty. It's just so good to watch in this format. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if the Irish national coach might be doing a wee bit of salivating himself watching this, if he's watching with us today.
Yeah, rightly he should be. I've no doubt Graham Ford watching on. Watching every ball, he's going to be intrigued as to what he's seeing. And what he's seeing is a Northwest Warriors side making a gigantic statement about the brand of cricket they're going to play. And they are dispatching this night side in every way. Bat, ball and in the field, they've been completely outplayed.
Oh, completely outplayed. Northern Knights looking limp, really, in everything that they're doing. No real conviction in their performance in any shape or form, and there'll be a lot of soul searching tonight for them, because losing a cricket match is one thing, but the fashion in which you lose, Andrew, is the thing that counts. And that could be out, and indeed it is. Stephen Doherty has perished on the deep point boundary, but he won't be worried. At 115 for 2, 55 from 26 deliveries. He's done a fantastic job for his team. This is the commitment that the Warriors are showing to this format of the game. Wonderful performance by him. And a safe and relatively straight and easy, straightforward catch. Brings an end to Doherty. Super innings, Andrew.
Yeah, magnificent stuff. Like you said, he's lived by the sword, but he's going to die by the sword. And I love to see this from the Warriors, continuing with the blitzkrieg. It's going to be big William McClintock to the crease. Remember, Alan, 195 for Donnamana in the 40-over game. 195 with, I think it was 21 sixes, if I remember correctly. You were trying to guess how many he could have hit up at the beautiful home ground there against Coleraine.
Well, again, we came across Donnamana ourselves at club level in the All-Ireland final last year. Certainly the feeling while he was at the wicket he was going to take the game away from us. Gladly, he perished close enough to the end, but he's a hell of a striker of a cricket ball.
Yeah, he hits an incredibly big ball. There's no doubt about that.
Well, I think it's another feature. And again, in terms of what we're talking about within this team, William McClintock was out of the team, and again, there can be a variety of reasons for that, but he seems reinvigorated under this new management team.
Well, we talk about culture, and we talk about culture within the Irish setup and how important that is to any sporting team, but with the amount of time these guys spend away with each other or in the Inter-Provincial setup around the country with each other, the culture of your team is all important. And what Gary Wilson seems to have done with this Northwest Warriors team under the leadership of Andy McBride, and don't rule out the influence of William Porterfield in his assistant fielding coach as well, they are creating a brand of cricket that they want to play. They so nearly could have won the 50 over Inter-Pros. If they'd got over the line against the Leinster Lightning, they would have taken that crown. And they're saying, we may have come up just short in the 50 overs, we're not going to come up short in the T20. We're going to go out and take the game to the other three sides.
Absolutely, no doubt about that, and I've really enjoyed watching them.
Ross Adair into the attack with his left arm spin from the Millfield Road end. And the Warriors are just going to continue along their merry way. They're not going to knock it around and take 20 or 21 singles to get over the line. They're going to try and smash the ball everywhere. Watch where William McClintock might hit this one.
Well, if it's in his area, we know what's going to happen, Andrew.
Smashed so hard that Ross Adair nearly tries to get out of the way. It was back of a length. Not a good delivery, a bit of a drag down from the left arm spinner. And McClintock has hammered that one, Alan. Look how hard he's hit this.
Well, Rossiter didn't really want to know. And there was a lot of wringing of hands. That was hit tremendously hard. Poor ball, mind you, it has to be said.
Questions to answer right now for the Northern Knights, Alan. Not the start to their T20 campaign they would have wanted. Big appeal. Probably just angling down for my money. Not a big turner of the ball, Rossiter. McClintock looking for the slog sweep. I think going on with the arm and going on to miss leg stump, Alan.
I would agree with you, Andrew.
Just a pick up, leg side. Another drag down. This is ending as it's begun for the Northern Knights in rather poor fashion. It's been a calamitous performance.
That was a dreadful delivery and probably sums up the Knights' performance, which has been extraordinarily poor.
Just getting those graphics updated at the bottom of your screen. The score now 123 for 3 in the 9th over. That's just angled in again. This time will be signalled wide. I'm going to keep giving you score updates by voice because just having a bit of a breakdown with the live graphics. So 124 for 3 now. Down the track and a miss stumping. That really sums up the Northern Knights' day. It sums up exactly what has happened to them. Nicely bowled by Rossiter, just held back a bit, tempted McClintock down the track, and Neil Rock has missed what can only be described as a sitter.
Good fielding that by Ben White at extra cover.
Couldn't just bring you the replay, but I'm going to just show Alan Lewis the replay of this miss stumping on screen, Alan.
As you say, probably sums up the Northern Knights' day, that. Relatively straightforward, something, the ball always in the eye line of Neil Rock.
So the halfway stage of the chase. What a chase this would be if they were chasing down 250, Alan. They're not. They're chasing down 136. They need just 12 from the remaining 10 overs. And Harry Tector, who looks like quite an unhappy captain right now. Wouldn't have seen this too often. You're going to see the captain bring himself on to bowl. And he's got the cap on baseball style backwards. I'm not too sure.
Not really a fan of that, I have to say.
And of course, you can't hand your cap to the umpire anymore. So perhaps Harry deciding doesn't want to lumber one of his teammates with it, but it's been a ragged performance from the Knights. I think questions are going to be asked at the end of today.
Well, you had question marks headwear that we had Simi Singh in a beanie. You weren't happy. You're talking about etiquette in the game and all that type of thing. And now Harry Tector with a baseball cap the wrong way round. Is this just modern youth?
I love the joy and the spirit of the game, Alan, as you know.
So you've no issues with the beanie or the baseball cap?
Everyone's entitled to play the game the way they want, as long as they're respectful to their opposition, which I know Harry Tector is, but yeah, not for me. I wouldn't be bowling with a baseball cap on backwards from around the wicket with the opposition needing 11 to win. McClintock just working that into the offside. This game is dead and buried. Probably the most comprehensive one-sided T20 match you will ever see.
Well, there's no doubt about that. We're in the 11th over, and as you say, 10 to win at this stage. It's been a joy to watch the way the Warriors have gone about their business. But this could be the end. Ooh. Again, there was a bit of confusion there. Obviously, understandably, what you would have is the player out of deep cover.
I think it's Pretorius who's put it down.
I'm not too sure. I think it's Georgeson.
It might be Georgeson.
Just to get a number.
Yeah, it is Georgeson. You're spot on, Alan. He's come in, he's made good ground, he's immediately called it. You thought just for a moment the two fielders were going to come together. That's Lawler at extra cover.
It's one of the things in cricket I actually hate seeing. Some of those, we've had some horrendous collisions in the field like that before.
Slower through the air, heaved into the leg side. Pretorius does a good job. It was indeed Georgeson out on the far cover. Pretorius knocks it in to cut off the boundary.
That's good work from Pretorius there. Parried the ball back into his colleague Mark Adair. But no one has really stood up James McCullum played very well at the start of the innings, but you cannot...
Well, that sums it all up. Poor delivery down the leg side. Rossiter is going to chase in vain, despite that extra yard of pace he has. Let's wait for the signal. I think it's been given as runs. Maybe just a bit of glove on the bottom of that, Alan?
I'm not sure. It looked to be just a... No, maybe there was. Wasn't a great delivery from Harry Tector. There must be a great sense of deep frustration within the Knights camp. Tough day at the office.
11 overs gone. 132 for 3. 9 overs remain. And remarkably, it is just 4 runs to win. Northwest Warriors are going to not just take the win, they will take the bonus point, and they will go above the Leinster Lightning on net run rate at the top of the table. And I would hasten to think they may be moving themselves into the favourites category for this T20 competition.
Well, they were certainly... Oh, and look at that. That has gone a long, long way. And it's a fitting conclusion to this match. William McClintock has heaved that over deep backward square for 6. And it's really a measure of the dominance that they've had right throughout this game. And they've played magnificently.
Alan, I don't think he's even got all of that. And I think if he'd got all of it, it would have gone not just over the ropes, it would have gone on to the dart track, and we just had a train go past, so probably just as well he didn't get all of it, because that is as imperious a win as you'll ever see. Majestic, magnificent, marvellous from the Northwest Warriors. They have outplayed their northern rivals. They have given them a hammering that the Northern Knights will not forget in a hurry.
Well, they won at a canter, Andrew, and they were great to watch. I think, you know, in terms of their whole attitude to the T20 format, as you said, the joy of, you know, this bludgeoning, this whole all-out attack approach to the batting. Donny, Getgate, William McClintock, Nathan Maguire's 14 off 7. You know, they just look a side that are so comfortable with one another. And again, you know, they've been prepared to be flexible and change. And as you said, you got so excited about that battle at Porterfield, Donny, Maguire, Getgate, McClintock. You know, it's making a statement of how they want to play this particular tournament.
That is the way you want to see T20 cricket played. You want to see power hitting, you want to see dynamic fielding, you want to see aggressive captaincy and good bowling, and we've seen all of that today from the Northwest Warriors, so brilliantly captained and led by Andrew McBride. The change in coach for the Warriors has worked the oracle. He's got a very happy group of players together who could go on to not just produce brilliant things this season, but for many years to come. I think it's going to be difficult to wipe the smile off Gary Wilson's face this evening, because he has been outstanding. The Knights, well, Alan, with the exception of James McCollum, who really stood up to be counted, the rest of that batting order today, with the exceptions of Ten and Jack, whose job it isn't to do, really a bit of a ramble.
Well, if you look at that middle order, it's like a mobile telephone number, really. And as you say, apart from McCollum at the top of the innings, who played some sumptuous shots, it has to be said, but there was little or no support. 4 off 11, 8 off 8, and let's just have a look at that middle pair, that middle piece in the middle of the innings. Just so many wickets fell in that middle period, but there was no real sense of direction in anything that they were doing. There was no real energy in what they were doing, and I know we speak about joy, but the joy comes about performing. And yes, you can lose cricket matches, but the fashion in which the Northern Knights has lost this match, they'll be asking serious questions in that changing room tonight.
Yeah, I think big time. The Warriors, on the other hand, with the ball, very impressive. Standout for me, surprisingly, only bowled 3 of his 4 overs. Graham Kennedy, new to left arm spin. It looks to come incredibly natural to him. I think he's a fine cricketer with bat, ball and in the field. 2 for 21 for him, 2 for 30 for Graham Hume, who did take a little bit of tap. Andy McBride, is there a more consistent performer in Irish cricket than Andy McBride?
Well, again, and him on the other side of things is probably the pivotal wicket. Really good delivery, you know, from Craig Young to get rid of Harry Tector. And again, his economy rate, you know, under 6. But you're right, I think, again, and we've spoken about him, Graham Kennedy has really impressed me, you know, throughout, you know, this season, and the way he's just emerging in both facets of his game. And what a change, you know, to turn his arm over and bowl Bowler's left arm orthodox spin with a good foundation, a good action. But look at this batting card, Andrew Leonard.
Phenomenal. Exactly what you want to see. Every single one of these batsmen striking not only at over 100, some of them striking at 200 and more. Doheny, 200. Maguire, 200. Getgate, nearly 300. That's what you want to see in T20 cricket. It's the way the modern game is. It's based around power hitting, aggressive, dynamic batting. They've blitzed the Knights away.
So there we are. There, the partnerships. It was all very consistent, all the same. We've spoken about it earlier. Look at those strike rates, but great partnerships, a great team performance by the Warriors. And now we're going to hand over to John Kenny with the man of the match.
Yes, thanks very much, Alan Lewis. Well, that was an entertaining end to the proceedings here. We had some very good contributions throughout.